If you've been dieting, walking, and lifting and doing everything right and your belly fat still looks the same, you're not failing. There's a good chance you're losing fat already, and you just don't know the early signs. As a guy in your 30s and 40s, this is where most men quit, because the scale lies long before your results show. I've been there, coming up on 100 pounds lost. This phase almost broke me. So today I'm giving you 3 strong signs that you're losing belly fat, even when the scale might not show it. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for so you stop doubting yourself, which will allow you to stay locked in long enough for those results to show and you to lose that belly. Before we start, this isn't the usual close fit different stuff that you hear online. I'm going to show you what we're going to learn right here. Most people talk about the surface predictable stuff like your clothes fitting different, people noticing, and that you'll be sleeping better. I don't think this stuff's very helpful though, so I'm going to show you what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about real psychology. This is a bullseye, by the way, so the thing is that we're hitting the middle of the bullseye. Real psychology. We're going to talk about something called the reverse plateau method and what to do about it if you feel stuck and how to push a little further. So first we're going to talk about a method called the reverse plateau method that I kind of coined. And the analogy that I'm going to use for this is like watering a lawn. At first, it kind of looks worse. I don't know if you've ever had a lawn that's been looking like it's on the brink of dying. It probably is just dormant or whatever. And you start watering it and you're like, oh my gosh, I think I might have made it worse. That's kind of what this is going to be about. So there's a few things that I look for when it comes to if you're in this reverse plateau. So this isn't like how to get out of a plateau. This is that I don't think you're all the time in a plateau to begin with, even if it's towards the beginning of your journey, especially if you're kind of new to this and you're a guy, you're going to be gaining a ton of muscle. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And I think it'll give you a lot of hope, help you keep going, and then really get some solid results. So the first thing I look for is that you're hungrier than normal. And this could be like a lot hungrier. Number 2 is that even though you're hungrier and you might be eating a little bit more, your weight is stable. Notice that I'm not saying the weight is going down. I'm saying that your weight isn't going up. Why would it not be going up if you're eating more? I also find that a person in this reverse plateau method that we're going to be talking about is hungrier earlier in the day. You might even wake up super hungry. And then even though your hunger is rising, you feel this weird sense of control. If you don't have that control, it might be time for a diet break. This is not a diet break. This is a new method that I've kind of been discovering for myself. If you feel yourself hungrier and your weights are going well in the gym and your workouts feel good, but the scale is stalled, it might not be going down, but it's not going up, even though you might be eating a little bit more. You are in this reverse plateau where I think you're actually recomping, especially towards the beginning. At first, I think if you're pushing hard enough in the gym, you are going to be building enough muscle that it might erase 2 or 3 weeks worth of progress on the scale. Because I'm not saying that you're gaining 3 pounds of muscle in 3 weeks. But if you gain a pound of muscle in 3 weeks, completely possible whenever you're new to this, there has to be water and glycogen that goes into those muscles. Muscles don't just sit there dry. They're like sponges and they fill up. And so especially at first, like in the first 2 months, you might be hitting all these little plateaus that if you trust this and you push through, you're going to end up with a lot more muscle and a lot easier time losing fat. So that is sign 1 that you're actually losing fat without knowing it. But I want to give you something real quick on what to do about it. Because I think if you take advantage of this, you're actually going to gain a lot more muscle. So whatever your current split is to your main body parts, add 1 set per workout. So this doesn't include biceps and triceps. You could, but the intensity you're going to be pushing back, those are going to be covered by the chest and back exercises. So you're going to take this last set, so you're going to add 1 set, and you're going to take it to complete psychotic failure. Make sure you're being safe with it though. What that means, let's take a chest fly for example, is if you normally would stop at rep 13, you push psychotically, you try to get 14, and you might even do partials where you're doing the back half to the halfway mark. You're doing that up until, like another 3 reps. So like 3 reps past failure. You're going to do this on each of these muscle groups, and that is going to give you that next level. Because if I'm right and you are gaining muscle at a rate faster than average during that window, you may as well take advantage of that, really send the stimulus to the muscle. So this next step proves your body is changing even if the scale isn't going down. And once again, we're at the whiteboard. So the base of your strength increase is going to be technique. This is what always happens first. This is more neurological. And, you can get stronger without gaining muscle. Up here is muscle. And the reason this is important to understand is after a while, after, 2 months, 3 months, the only changes that could still be increasing your strength are increased muscle. These don't account for nearly as many as much of the gains as they used to. So here's something encouraging that I tell a lot of my clients. After a while, the only physical possible way that you're getting stronger is that you're building muscle. So if the scale is flat and you're getting stronger, it proves that you're losing weight because you have to be adding weight to your body, and instead of the scale going up, it's staying flat, which means weight has to be getting taken from somewhere else. Although this ties in a lot to the last point and recomposition, I think this is a sure sign that you are losing fat. And if you stick with it and if you are patient, that is the big difference that I experienced during my weight loss. That the reason it feels permanent is I was a lot more patient. I just enjoyed the fact that I think I gained muscle and lost fat at the same time. And I saw it in the mirror a lot faster than I saw it on the scale. But this means that if you keep pushing, you will achieve your goal. And I wanted to note real quick, this isn't just you getting stronger. Sometimes the weight doesn't increase, but you might notice that you're able to get a little bit bigger stretch, which means you're moving further, you're controlling the weight, for a longer period of time, or you're able just to have better technique, and that better technique typically makes it harder. For instance, on like a bicep curl, if you're standing perfectly still and you used to have to swing a little bit, obviously you are stronger. I know that's a pretty obvious example, but you can apply that to almost anything. Strength, though, is only half the story. The exciting and visual proof shows up in this next sign, and most guys miss it entirely. All right, maybe I'll be lying to you, but I'm gonna go to the whiteboard just one more time. So these are your muscles, like a cross section. Imagine your bicep getting cut in half. This is before, this is after. We're gonna have some dots in this one, and then we're gonna have a lot more dots in this one, and draw out these wavy things. So these dots are muscle glycogen, and that is water. That's the best I could do in terms of my art skills. But your muscle is going to look pumped. You're gonna look bigger without necessarily even being a little bit bigger. So we talked about muscle being added to the scale, negating the fact that you're losing fat, but you're also going to be gaining a lot of glycogen and a lot of water into the muscle, making them look fuller, but it also weighs a lot. If you don't believe me, drink just a little bit of water, like, something you might brush your teeth with or something after brushing your teeth. Take your weight before and after, and you will see the weight spike up 0.2, 0.4 pounds sometimes. Just that little bit of water, and that water is easily held in the muscles whenever you're growing them and pushing them hard. When you're pushing in the gym, you're causing damage to the muscles. They get pumped, they get swollen. If you haven't worked out for a while, you might actually feel small, and part of that is not just in your head, it actually is you are a little bit smaller because your muscles don't have that in the muscle because they're not repairing anymore, they're repaired. And so anytime you have inflammation, you're gonna have extra water, extra size in the muscles, and that's gonna add a little bit of bulk. Your arms and your chest are gonna look rounder, they're gonna look better. Right now, I do not have a pump because I'm at home, but if I go to the gym and I actually get a pump, my muscles, it's amazing how good I look right after that pump. And I'm sure you might have experienced that if you go to the gym, but this phenomenon happens a little bit during your workout, or like in between your workouts, where if you are working out hard, you chronically have a little bit more fullness to your muscles. But again, that's gonna throw off the scale. So what do we do about all this? The point of this video, if you've made it this far, is that you trust the system. You keep pushing, even if the scale doesn't say that you're losing weight. Because if you trust this, and if what I'm saying is true, it won't be long until you start to see past the increased glycogen, increased muscle, and all that stuff, where the scale does start to drop because you've maxed out on how much glycogen is held in the muscle. Now, of course, you will continue to gain muscle and more glycogen and water and everything will be stored in that, but you won't be able to keep up the rate. Like, your fat loss will start to outpace your muscle gain. Then you'll really start to look good. And if you would have quit, you never would have reached that point. And it's very exciting. I bring this up a lot. I know I'm not the most muscular guy, but I have gotten a lot more toned, a lot better looking, and I just love the way I look, but I'm actually heavier than I've looked in the past. I've gotten down like 180. Right now, I'm 200 pounds, 199 pounds, what I weigh in, somewhere around there, and I'm feeling and looking my best. Now, if you're serious about this and you're actually going to do it this time, you need to know what to be ready for, and you need to know the mistakes that costed me years. So I made that video right here just for you.